Hello YouTube, this is the Optical Tailor here, your optician and styling consultant. Today we're going to be showcasing a collection of frames that majority of you will have never seen before. I'm going to start right here with one of the most iconic frames from the 70s. This is a Carrera Porsche design. In 1976, Carrera partnered with Porsche Design to come out with a range of eyewear, and this was one of the most revolutionary pairs at the time. Essentially, what it allowed you to do was flip up that center shield and swap out your lenses. So I'll just pull that lens out here for you guys. And this allowed you to change your lenses on the go between multiple color options. This frame is something that's straight out of the archives of fine eyewear. Back in the 70s, Carrera was very similar to what DITA is now. They were some of the most cutting-edge frames. They were worn by a who's who of race car drivers in Formula One, such as James Hunt, Niki Lauda, etc. And this packaging even is original from the 70s. So this really is a time capsule of a pair of glasses, being nearly 50 years old now. These frames back then were made in Austria, and not only did they come with the green gradient, which they were fitted with as we picked them up, they also came with solid gray lenses and a set of gradient brown lenses. These truly were revolutionary, as they were one of the first pairs that allowed you to have a modular system, similar to what the DITA Epiluxury 16 and the Epiluxury 5 are to this day. I'm going to reinsert those lenses and just pop it on for a quick moment to give you guys an idea of what it looks like. And I can say that these frames, 50 years later, have stood the test of time. They still look just as iconic and just as cool even to this day. And the lens system, it worked very well. You could very easily switch these lenses on the go. So I've snapped those round gradient lenses in, and I'm just going to put this frame on for you guys to get an idea. And this is something that I would still wear to this day. It's an amazing piece of engineering and timeless design. I have to give it to Carrera for being one of the originals of just cool, fine, crafted eyewear. Even though modern Carrera, it's really lost its touch. It's become a licensed product, having been sold to Safilo for quite some time now. But the original Carreras, they were top notch. And if you can get your hands on a pair of these, whether you find them online, on eBay, or wherever, never pass up on a good pair of original vintage Carreras. The next pair we have here is a vintage Matsuda. This Matsuda is dating back to the 70s as well. And one really cool thing that I have to say about even the cases back then, this one, for example, was made in Japan. Whereas today, unfortunately, even a lot of the top crafted eyewear, they outsource their cases to China. When it came to vintage eyewear, even the cases were made to the highest standard. This is one of those really cool vintage frames with an antique titanium finish. It has the filigree on the entire eye rim. And putting it on, this isn't something that I would wear, but it really worked well for someone who was just looking for a small pair, or even a pair of readers where you could essentially read down here and look over the top. But not only that, they also came with a really cool set of clip-ons. Just gonna pop those on right now and give you guys an idea of what they look like as sunglasses, because with the clip-ons, they have a totally cool and unique look. With that top bar, it totally changes up the style of the eyewear. And Matsuda, they still make vintage-inspired frames to this day, but the original pieces from the 1970s, for example, were still top-notch for their day. Here we have a vintage Christian Dior. This Christian Dior was actually made in Austria, and that predates any Christian Dior from Safilo, any modern Christian Diors which are manufactured under Thalios, which is the eyewear branch of LVMH. Back in the day, Christian Dior, they were actually some of the finest eyewear you could get. Unlike today, where they're still a reasonable quality pair of eyewear, but it is a licensed product. One really cool design about this Christian Dior is that crisscross pattern in the bridge, which I've seen many Tom Fords use, or many modern Tom Fords, I should say. So it's kind of funny to see how you have all these newer fashion designers such as Tom Ford, which has only been around since 2004, utilizing designs and concepts that have been around for decades. And oftentimes people will think, oh, that's that Tom Ford bridge. But I can honestly say in fashion, a lot of it has already been done in the past and they're just recycling and rehashing the same designs. Gotta give it up to Christian Dior for having some fine eyewear back in the day. The next pair we have here is one of my favorites. Here we have another vintage Carrera. So Carrera, not only did they partner with Porsche back in the 70s, this was a partnership they had with Boeing, the airplane manufacturer. And when I look at this frame, even to this day, it still looks really cool. And not only is it very well built, it's unique. And this was a made in Germany Carrera, where nowadays, unfortunately, many Carreras are made in China. Not many, pretty much the entire collection is made in China. And this Carrera collection, which was in partnership with Boeing, this started in 1989. So that dates this frame to about 36 years of age. If you see here, actually, it's very similar to what I'm wearing, which is a Fred America Cup. And putting on this Carrera, not only does it feel really good in terms of just snugness, it's got a nice weight to it, but it still looks the part. 36 years later, very much like the Porsche designed Carrera, this frame is just, it's timeless. There's really no other way to explain it. When you invest good money on quality eyewear, you really do get that return on investment, because there's very few products that will last you decades and still stay looking current and immaculate. The next frame we have here is the Matsuda 3032. This is one of the most recent pairs, having come out just under 10 years ago, but it's still a really cool vintage-inspired pair that you just don't really see on the market anymore. This is what we would call your classic steampunk style of glasses, which were inspired by racing goggles of the 60s and 70s. Putting this frame on, at first I found it quite strange, but when I tried it on, I thought it actually looks really cool. And if you're riding a bike or a motorcycle, or even a convertible, those side shields, they really do help at blocking a lot of that wind that would be hitting your eyes. And it's just really cool to see Matsuda, even in their more modern stuff, just keep that vintage aesthetic and bring back classic styles. Gotta give it up to Matsuda for recreating something from the past, yet still keeping it all original and making it to a very high quality. The next frame we have here is the Chrome Hearts Pink Candle. And I can say that this is some of the finest wood temples I've ever seen. I actually counted how many layers of wood are in this temple, and it's 12 layers of laminated wood. And that ivory finish, it's immaculate. It's got a nice matte finish to it. The Chrome Hearts hardware, it's very tastefully done. Sometimes I'm not a big fan of the huge embellishments and just those big crosses or a lot of the crazy stuff Chrome Hearts does. And this is a ladies' piece, so it's obviously it's not gonna look right on me. But it is comfortable. The temples actually, they sit very, very nicely right behind my ears. I find with certain wooden frames such as Cartier, for example, the temples, they just extend too far, even past my head, and I've got a decent sized head. But the overall fit and finish of these frames, it is really nice. It is one of the nicest Chrome Hearts that I've seen. They really don't go out of style. And again, truly it's a timeless ladies' Chrome Hearts for those of you who may be looking for a gift, or if you're a lady looking to get yourself into Chrome Hearts. A lot of their frames, they are larger, thicker, chunkier frames, but that is a really cool one. And it's also fitted with Zeiss lenses, so you know you're getting something top quality right out of the box. That being said, a lot of our clients here at the Optical Tailor, they do end up changing their lenses, whether they're going for prescriptions or for custom tints to have something that's entirely different from what they're getting out of the box. The next pair of sunglasses we have here is one of the big boys and one of my favorites from the bunch. Not one of my favorites, it probably is my favorite along with the Porsche design, and they actually share a very similar aesthetic. But this here is the Cazal Dita collaboration. Cazal and Dita actually collaborated back in 2007. And it's funny because I've heard from a lot of people saying that, oh, Dita seems to copy Cazal, or they've heard from various sources that Dita is just an imitation of Cazal or whatnot. To set the notion straight that Dita is a copy or an imitation of Cazal, Let's just make it very clear that they're not a copy, but they are inspired by Cazal, and they've never hid that fact. In fact, even in the DITA brand books, it's very clearly listed that they've collaborated with Cazal in the past. And it's one of those things where if you're collaborating with a brand or if you're inspired by a brand, of course you're going to share a similar aesthetic. That being said, let's get this out of the box and showcase it. So this is the Targa design by DITA and Cazal. And this is just one of those really cool pairs of eyewear where if you're able to get your hands on this, you really should. It's not something you're going to find in the market. It's not something that's available from retailers anymore. Here it's inscribed with Cazal x Dita on the right temple, and on the left temple it's got the model number, the model 902, made in Germany. So this is one of those few Dita branded frames that's actually manufactured in Germany. And putting it on, it's such a cool pair. Even to this day, nearly 20 years later, it's still just timeless, similar to the Porsche design that preceded this by 30 years. It goes to show that, again, like I've mentioned before, fine handcrafted eyewear, it's one of the best investments you can make, because if you take care of your stuff, keep it in good condition, you can get years and decades out of it. This frame is really cool because it also comes with a limited edition certificate here, which is also branded with the Cazal and Dita logo. So these frames were made in limited batches of 500, and they came with an authenticity card as well. And to find something like this as a complete package with the original case and the authenticity cards, it's not something that you will commonly come by. So again, my favorite of the bunch, I have to give it up to the DITA Cazal collaboration. It's one of those things where even though these aren't readily available, you can always count on the Optical Tailor to bring you stuff that you've never seen before. If you guys have liked this video, please like and subscribe to our channel, as it will keep you updated as to whenever we launch new videos. And we really hope that you enjoyed this showcase of these hidden gems in the world of eyewear. These aren't something that you can just find in any optical store. They're not pieces that are readily available, but you can always count on the Optical Tailor to bring you some of the coolest in the world of eyewear. Thank you for watching.